This is a professional racket around here. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura, and for this video I have my husband Chris with me, and together we have lost almost 250 pounds on a meat-only carnivore diet, reversed our insulin resistance, his type 2 diabetes, my pre-diabetes, high blood pressure, a myriad of health issues that we both were experiencing. In this video, we want to talk briefly about the symptoms of insulin resistance that we were both experiencing, how we knew that was a problem for us, and then how we reversed it as we lost over 100 pounds each. For more information on our individual journeys and how we each lost over 100 pounds with the carnivore diet, you can check out those intro videos that are on my page. Today, we want to get into the symptoms of insulin resistance and then the steps that we took in order to reverse ours.
So insulin resistance is a sciencey term, and we're not going to get too deep into that today, but what it basically is your body is having too much sugar coming in, so it's having to produce too much insulin, so it gets desensitized to that whole process, and everything starts to fall apart metabolically in your body, leading eventually to type 2 diabetes, which I eventually did get, and she nearly got.
So a lot of the symptoms that I was experiencing personally were things like acne. I had belly fat. I was, a female. Women carry weight in a lot of different places. Mine was this big apron belly that I carried in front of me. I really didn't carry a lot of weight in my hips and thighs. It was all in my stomach, which is a pretty key indicator of insulin resistance. I also had high triglycerides and major cravings for sweet, or maybe that was just my carb addiction in general, and was on my way to having hormone issues as well as being pre-diabetic.
One of the things I had a lot was skin tags. People don't often associate that with insulin resistance, but it's a very common cause of skin tags is insulin resistance. Also, some people, I don't think either one of us had this, have like a discoloration in their skin, particularly like armpits or in the inner thighs, things like that, where it gets like a darker color. I obviously was type 2 diabetic, so I had a lot more symptoms like frequent urination, blurry vision, things like that. I had the big belly as well, and I also had cravings, which I gave into all the time, which is a snowball that keeps rolling and rolling. I also had very high blood sugar. I think right before I was diagnosed diabetic, my blood sugar was somewhere in the 400s when I had it tested. Then I started treating that with medication, and my A1C at that time was 11.6.
I was never diagnosed with anything. My doctor never told me that I was diabetic or pre-diabetic, and yet my A1C was 5.9, which is very high and on my way to having major issues if it wasn't corrected. And yet the doctor never gave me any warning or mentioned any lifestyle changes to me. Through some health scares, we had a wake-up call and made some drastic changes in our life. And through 3 major changes, we were able to reverse our insulin resistance and lose over 100 pounds each. The first thing we did was cut out all carbs. This included a lot of keto-approved foods that are going to have almond flour, processed foods, any kind of packaged snack food. We really cut down to an all-meat diet. We ate dairy, eggs, beef, pork, chicken, but we really stayed away from any sweets whatsoever, any processed foods, anything with packaging for the most part, and made sure it was nice and simple by eating only meat. That's a lot of the reason why carnivore worked better for us, because we weren't dealing with a lot of hidden carbs and the confusing macros that are in keto.
The next thing we did was introduce some fasting, both intermittent fasting and a little bit of extended fasting. Another symptom of insulin resistance is fatty liver, which I was diagnosed with. So an easy way to get rid of that fat on the liver is by fasting. So we started eating maybe 2 meals a day and having like a 16 to 20 hour window of fasting. And then we eventually did some longer fasts, first 24 hours, then 36, then 48, all the way up to a couple 5-day fasts over that time period.
Extended fasting or anything beyond like a normal intermittent fast is something that you have to decide is right for you. I think I'll probably dive into a longer video on the types of people that would be applicable for. If you are experiencing high blood sugar and insulin resistance, it has been shown to accelerate the reversal of that insulin resistance and your blood sugar by incorporating things like extended fasting. We really looked to people like Dr. Jason Fung when we were looking for that specific scientific information and advice from an expert. So we recommend that you look up your own information on that. In his book, The Diabetic Code, Dr. Jason Fung really talks about how one of the best ways to lower your blood sugar is by incorporating 36-hour fasts. And for somebody like Chris and my mom, who were both diabetic and were able to get off all their medications, those 36-hour fasts were really necessary.
And the third thing we incorporated was exercise. So she's not a fan. So I started with a daily walk every day, 3 to 4 miles, 45 minutes to an hour walk. I just put on some headphones, listen to podcasts about nutrition and reversing insulin resistance, ironically. And that would keep me busy every day. I would do that. And then after I'd lost about 80 pounds or so, I felt good enough to get in the gym. And I started going and doing some resistance training. Nothing too heavy, but just something to help build a little muscle mass. Muscle mass is like a super machine to burn sugar off out of your body and help with that insulin balance.
Exercise has not been something that I have incorporated consistently, but I did find that lifting weights near the end of that weight loss was really what finally helped bring my blood sugar down at the end and reverse some of the symptoms that I was experiencing. So as much as I hate to admit it, having proper muscle mass and burning that muscle in the gym is important. I don't recommend that you run on the treadmill for hours every day, but just lifting some weights or doing some body weight exercises. For me, most of it was just doing some squats and doing some push-ups at home as best I could.
And after doing all three of those things, for me, my A1C went down to 4.9. I felt great. I had energy all the time. Skin tags, so weird, actually just shriveled up and went away, and those were gone. All my issues pretty much went away, even things not related to insulin resistance. So it was pretty much a miracle for me. I was on about 6 or 7 medications and down to 0.
My A1C normalized as well. I was back down to 5.0, which is a healthy range. I had mine tested recently after being on a carnivore diet for 4 years, and I still maintained that really healthy blood sugar and A1C. Reversing insulin resistance is simple, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. But it really comes down to being about 3 things: what you eat, how often you're eating, and getting some movement in to burn that sugar that's built up in your body. Consistency matters most of all, so it's not something that you can just do on the weekdays and then go back to living your old life on the weekends. It has to be about long-term habits. There's no shakes or tricks or weight loss plans that you have to purchase. You can do it. You're capable of taking your health back into your own hands. You just need to be determined and have consistency. I hope this was helpful. If you want to watch examples of things that we eat and how we incorporate living a meat-only diet into our lives and hear more about our stories, feel free to check out the rest of my videos. Thanks, guys. We did it. For exclusive content from me and some community support, you can come check out my locals at lauraespath.locals.com. There we host challenges, I do live Q&As, and we really just get to know each other and try to help support each other along the way as we're all trying to take back our health. You can join for free, or you can become a supporter in order to post your own content and engage with the community.